going to answer some questions for all of y'all. I just thought it would be easier to just do these sort of vlog things because I have so many videos and not enough time. And, do you really need to see my face while I look at a piece of paper and answer these questions anyway? That's just silly. So here we are, and we can get a bit artsy with it because some of these questions are a bit artsy, but here is me answering some questions about myself. So one of the questions is, how would I describe myself when I love? Do I love forcefully, unconditionally, gently, quietly, desperately? I don't think my love is conditional, or unconditional, rather. I definitely have conditions for my love. I think that comes with being abused. My love can be very gentle, but it's probably very obnoxious, honestly. I would say that I love obnoxiously, probably a little desperate and forceful. It's not quiet at all. It is a loud love that's potentially smothering. Do I believe that unrequited love is real love? Honestly, I want to say, I think you can really love another person and the other person can't love you back, and that is a real tragedy. So I believe that the person who is loving the other person back, that is still love. It just can't, it is a love that is stagnant and can't evolve as I think true love does. Because I truly do believe, even though sometimes I forget and get anxious too, that everything that is meant for you will happen for you. There is no other way things are meant to go in this universe, or they would go that way. That's just how I feel. So I'll say that it's real love, because that's a bit vague. I think it's real love. It's just, stagnant. I almost said a terrible word. I'm so sorry. Is my perception of myself similar or the same to how others perceive you? Did you hear Milo? I guess he has something to say about myself. I would say that it's probably different at times. I don't think it's too far off. So, sort of, kind of. I think that's a really hard one, and I think that's the beauty of being unique. We'll always perceive things differently. So, yeah, I don't like to think about others perceiving me either. I'm getting anxiety with this question, so I'm going to move on. But I think it's probably around the same. It's at least similar. It's not totally far off. Am I overly analytical? The way I answered just the last 3 of these questions, you bet your ass. Yep, I'm absolutely overly analytical, and I need to stop. Do I ever feel that I'm a really terrible person and I only act good out of societal or some other obligation? Nah, I really don't think I'm a terrible person, which may be a thing that a terrible person would say, but I honestly just I don't think I would want to always be treated how I would want to be treated in the best of scenarios. And that's how I want to treat others. And I think even if I didn't learn that, I would have had it innately, weirdly. I had to teach myself to be selfish, and is and was still very hard. So I don't feel obliged to society at all, clearly, or I wouldn't be making weird videos like this. I would do the typical thing. And I'm not doing that. Do I believe in magic? Am I superstitious? I want magic to be real, and in some ways I don't understand how magicians do some things because some of that stuff blows my mind, but I don't know, it depends, define magic. I think that there is a magic to life, but I don't know that shooting lasers from my hands and being able to bend things, I don't think that is probably real. And I might just be saying that because I can't do it and I'm so bitter about it. I'm not really superstitious. I sometimes a bit nervous. I don't want to step on a crack and break my mom's back, and I don't want to walk under a ladder. I don't care about black cats. That doesn't scare me. But yeah, I'm not really superstitious. I don't love the number 13. I guess I'm a little stitious. I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious, as they would say. Oh my God, that's so funny. What belief do I have that isn't logically grounded, but I still firmly believe in? It's so interesting because while I said that I believe that there's only one path to go, I do also believe that there are like several dimensions happening at once, and there is like maybe 10,000 other Theas making different choices, and they're all me in these parts of lifetimes, and there's not really anything to guarantee that. I also weirdly believe that reincarnation isn't like super real, that I don't think one soul gets exactly reincarnated, but I feel like you get pieces of other souls that have come before to like make up who you are. None of this is grounded in reality, so probably a good place to start. Is my music organized by mood or sensation, or do I just listen to everything at any time? All right, so my music organization has been a journey, and it still isn't quite where I want it, but it works for now, and I'm going to keep it. Right now, it's like organized into like kind of types of videos. Like, do I like this for like background music? Do I like this for like, I want to sing it? Do I want to make a music video for it? Do I feel like this is good to play at a party or has kind of a like party vibe? So that's how it's organized now. I still don't love it, but I was like scrolling across like a giant list, and it's much better to have like only 300 songs. I don't think any of them have more than that, and it's like just an easier playlist because it's on Spotify, so like the scroll is big. Before that, I was like YouTube to MP3ing, and before that, I was like LimeWiring on Apple Music, and now I just like, I don't, because iTunes is like not really a thing. I don't know anybody who still has like an iTunes, so weird to think about the transition. Would I marry a friend if they needed me to for citizenship? Honestly, probably. I should probably find a nice Canadian boy or gal and marry them. I don't know if gay marriage is legal in Canada. I should find that out. But yeah, so I want to work in Toronto for film because that's where all this cool stuff is filming. So if you like that, please let me marry. It would be good. I just don't want my last husband to be my last husband, you know? Am I a deep person? I like to think that I am. I feel like people would say that about me. I definitely feel like I am leaning towards being more shallow. But to be honest, I don't think I'll ever probably be shallow. I think I'm always going to be a little deep because of the tragedies that have happened to me. Given the chance to live your life on Mars with no hope of returning to Earth, but with the promise of scientific discovery and glory, would you take it? No, space terrifies me. I don't want to do it. Sorry, Mr. Milo. I guess, would you like to live on Mars, Mr. Milo? Probably. He's like, if there's cat food, that's it. I'm going to go. I will go wherever there's cat food. If that's space, if that's what it takes, then all right. Am I who people think I am? I hope so. I try to be to some extent. I'm probably not who some people think I am. I'm not the monster that some people have made me out to be. And I'm probably as weird and odd as other people guessed. Do I think I would be happier if I had been born a different gender, sexuality, race, ethnicity, nationality, or religion? Absolutely. I do believe I would be happier if I was born a man. I think I would have a hard time I like being white and Hispanic. That feels like in every lifeline I am white and Hispanic, you know? And probably in every lifeline I like being attracted to girls too, and boys, and like all types of people. So I know maybe my life would be easier and I would have less religious guilt if I wasn't, but I also have more sadness that religion teaches that, because it just is gross when you think about it. But anyway, and I think I was born to live in France and not be allergic to the cold. So yeah, absolutely, I think I would be happier. What is my toxic trait? Am I trying to improve myself and fix it? My toxic trait is definitely that I'm very messy, and I'm really terrible at reaching out to people. I have to be better at giving back. So many people give back to me, and I think it's hard, like just being disabled and overwhelmed, which is part of the mess, and having so much to do and so much you want to create that I'm not often as there for others as I want to be, but I'm hoping to change that with my business because you pretty much like need others, and then I can at least employ them, and it's like, oh, that's still work and that's something I'm good at. So yeah, I'm definitely fixing it, but that's my toxic trait. Do I get angered easily? It really depends on the situation. Abuse and gaslighting, I go from 0 to 100 really quick. I don't feel like I'm necessarily always angry. I do think that it like builds. It's like a little thing, a little thing, and a little thing. And that's usually because I don't let all of my anger out until I reach a certain level. And I probably should do more things to like chill out my anger at certain degrees. But I'm not as angry as I used to be for sure. And that just came with getting my like cycle all fixed up. Am I a jealous person? I think a little bit. I think I'm definitely like, having been cheated on and left in relationships, it made me a jealous person. I never used to really be. But people will, like, they will steal your man or your partner. Like, people are cutthroat now. There's no moral things, and that makes me more sad. I'm not necessarily, like, jealous of other people's success. It does make me usually feel, like, inferior. Like, I'm like, oh, why can't I get my shit together to be at this person's level? If they can do it, so can I. So it's not really like I'm mad at them. And even, like, the person that flirts with my significant other, I'm not, like, mad at them. I'm more just, like, I wish, like, your life events didn't make you think that you had to do this. And, like, my business partner, I'll just come out and say it, my business partner is in love with me, and he flirts with me when I have a partner, and I'm like, I don't like it, because I think it just, like, crosses lines sometimes. And it's, like, there's, like, a flirty friendship thing that I like to keep in all my friendships, because I think that's, like, fun, and I'm just, like, a loving person. But yeah, I do get nervous. Like, my boyfriend and I are talking about having a threesome, and I do get nervous. I'm like, I want it to be somebody who we're not going to run into again, because I don't know how it's going to go, and I don't, like, trust people, unfortunately. So I would say I'm, like, a little bit of a jealous person. I'm not somebody who's going to, like, go through somebody's phone and be like, you can't hang out with anybody, but I am always, like, I'm always preparing to be left, which is sad. If I lost all my memories, would I have the same personality? Absolutely not. I am so trauma-informed. Given the chance to reset my life with none of the knowledge I currently have, would I take it? Probably. I don't know. If I'm resetting my life in my current circumstances, hell nah. I don't want to live through the things I lived through again. I already lived through them with my PTSD enough, so I'm done with that. My PTSD is complex, and so was my life, so I would definitely, like, reset my life with the knowledge I currently have, but whether that would make things, I think it would make things more bearable. I used to think that, it'd be too torturous because I would know, but I think I would have, like, an end goal in sight. So the years of being abused as a child, I'd be like, oh, it's whatever, it's temporary, and I think I would, like, live life more to the fullest and build skills that I actually needed because I knew where I wanted to go. So that I would take, but if I had to totally start with the exact same circumstances, nah, I'm so good. I don't need it. Is hate as strong as love? Who do you hate? Honestly, I don't think I hate anybody. I don't even hate people who are abusive. I feel really sad for them, and I want them to get together so strongly. I want that. And I don't think that hate is strong as love. I think, honestly, hate is weaker, but, some people have some real messed up beliefs, and it's unfortunate. I wish they thought differently, because the world would be easier, and I don't think that those beliefs help them. Do I speak multiple languages? Which do I dream in? What language would I want to learn? I barely speak multiple languages. I know, like, a little bit of French, a little bit of Spanish, and a little teensy bit of Japanese. But I don't know them enough to dream in them, although I think that would be really cool. I would like to learn Spanish and French more, and I would really like to learn American Sign Language, but I think I'm going to hate myself because I've always been bad. I can't even do that, like, patty cake thing where you, like, clap laughs. I'm just, like, not very good at that, so there's definitely, like, hand trauma I would deal with in learning ASL, so it would be interesting. It would be interesting to confront, but I'm being a bit of a chicken. Do I draw meaning from my dreams, or do I disregard them? I definitely take meaning from my dreams. I think they tell me about, like, deep emotional subconsciouses that I don't always have in the forefront because my brain is always buzzing. So I love a good dream interpretation. It fascinates me. And I've always thought they've been spot on. And mine are weirdly like predictory. Like I've definitely been off in real life of like, oh no, I think this is going to happen. And it's not that. It's actually something completely different that happens. I'm like, oh, I had this dream and it means I'm having a conflict. And I'm feeling in my life, I'm like, this has to be where the only conflict is. And then like another conflict will pop out of my life that I didn't even see, that if I look back in the dream, I'm like, oh, this makes sense. I should have paid attention more. But you can like, trying to predict anything is so silly. And I don't know why my anxiety doesn't go away. Because I like know that. And yet my anxiety is like, oh, but what if we tried to predict all of these outcomes? And they're also very stressful ones. What would you do in them? And I'm like, okay, I understand, but maybe like let's just save it, and when the stressful thing comes up, I know that I have a creative mind that I'll get out of it. So working on that. How confident am I really? I would say, I think unfortunately, compared to the average person, I'm pretty confident. I definitely struggle with confidence. I think a lot of people do, because we have a society that makes us feel so unconfident, in America at least. So I'd probably say I feel like I'm 60% confident, and maybe the average person is like 40% confident, and I'm working up for a solid 80. But I think I appear to be an 80 because I'm a 60, because most people are a 40, if that makes sense. How consistent is my perception of time? I don't think it's terrible. I'm pretty bad at days of the week, but I'm still coherent about them. I used to be much, much worse. I can get lost in my creative products, but I'm also like, sometimes I'm like, oh, it only took like an hour to do that. Sometimes I'm surprised at how efficiently I can get things done in a small amount of time. I definitely overestimate the time that I need to do something, and I feel like that is a good description of my perception of time. I feel like it changes. I think the weather influences it. I think how many hours of sleep I got influences. I think who I'm with, if I'm intoxicated, if I've been walking all day, did I exercise hard, did I try something new, am I going through anxiety? All of that has an effect on my perception of time. What age should people be allowed to vote? Part of me says 13-year-olds and 12-year-olds, but I'm like, oh no, that might be a disaster with how some 12 or 13-year-olds think. But it also might make 12 or 13-year-olds better. But I guess we could also keep it at 18. It kind of feels like it should be 16. It kind of feels like if you can drive a car, you should be able to vote. Should children and teenagers be allowed to vote? Oh yeah, I answered that sort of. I don't know that a child, like if you can't read, I don't think you should be allowed to vote. Sorry, because I think that's half of politics is like reading legislators and understanding this stuff. I mean, I guess you can get it podcast-wise, so you have to be able to comprehend at least audibly. I think it would really depend, and I think you'd have to be like take a test to vote. But I feel like that's even disqualifying because we just don't have a good educational system for our voting. And I think part of it is because like some of it changes so fast. Other times a lot of it doesn't. I don't know. Let's restart. Shut it down. That's how I feel. I'm a bit of an anarchist. How do I feel about the idea for an eye for an eye? When I'm angry, sometimes I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Do unto others as they do unto you, right? And that means even if they're mean to you. But it is true that it could leave the whole world blind. But I will say, also, people can't get away with what they did. If they did something bad, like somebody has to be held accountable, and somebody has to be like, no, like that was not okay. Like I think saying like a boundary and that somebody crossed it and that they didn't have to, and that you could have thought of a ton of different scenarios and you don't understand why they did that, and if they didn't apologize or try to make amends or try to do right, or just like tried to shame you for being yourself, like I think there is some stuff. I don't think that an eye for an eye is all terrible. I mean, I don't think you should be so violent But I do feel like, and I don't think that, like, I always think that when people put people on trial and they're like, I'm going to send this person to prison for 20 years because I'm so angry at what they did and they, like, deserve it. Like, they took the life, so I should take their life. And sometimes I'm like, yes, this person needs to stop murdering. That is terrible. But I don't know if robbing life, like, I think the energy you put out into the world definitely reciprocates. And I've seen that proven in my life. So if we're putting out hate, even when we were met with hate, even though it's so hard to choose the opposite, I think that you have to put out love when you absolutely can. And it doesn't mean letting bad people get away with things or walk all over you. I don't think it means that. But it does mean standing up for yourself, holding people accountable, and asking the world to be the best that it can be. What's the worst thing a person can be? A rapist. It's terrible to laugh at, but probably true. Like a serial rapist, I think that's almost worse than murder. Murder's pretty bad too. I would also say, like, somebody who's stealing from, like, a poor people, like, even if you're a politician doing that, if you're stealing from somebody who doesn't have a lot, I think that's terrible. Disqualified if you're all three of those. How do I feel about monogamy? I love it. I think monogamy is good. I honestly do believe that you can be set for one person for life. I don't think you need... There's so many other facets that other people can serve for you. And you can always, like, open it and still be monogamous in a weird way, like, as long as it's all agreed upon. Like, there's... I don't know. I guess that means, like, I feel like monogamy can be flexible or defined a little differently than it has been. But I also think, like, there's some people, it's like, yeah, it could just be, like, me and this person for life. Like, I do feel that with Luke. I felt that on who my husband, like, pretended to be. I felt that with a couple of guys that I've dated that, yeah, like, it could just, I don't need a lot, you know? I can find so much joy and blessings and things, so... Yep, I believe in monogamy. I'm boring. Can I be in love with someone and still fall in love with someone else? Yeah, I definitely think so. I definitely think that there are relationships where that happens. I think to some degree, I'm always like that. Like, there's people I fell out of love in, and it's like, it's not that I ever stopped loving them. I just love them in, like, a different amount, and I'm with the person I have the most amount of love for. What is the tragedy of my life? Probably that I was, like, molested at 1, raped at 4, and raped several times. Also, I don't feel like losing my eye is as big of a tragedy, especially the way other people treat it, but it was, like, minor tragedy. So there's lots of tragedy in my life. Also, probably my mom and dad not loving each other, and that I'll never know. Like, one time somebody did this meditation exercise, and they were like, oh, like, picture your mom and dad, like, you're in this cave, and they're, like, cradling you as a baby. And I was like, I, like, choked up, and I was like, that never happened to me. Like, I don't have that biological need that other people have. Like, I didn't have a mom and a dad, like, hold me together and be like, oh my God, we made this. Like, my dad was absent. And I mean, like, I had an aunt and an uncle who, like, also loved me, but it still feels like, and I'm greedy, right? Like, oh, I should have had, like, all 4. Like, why didn't I have all 4? That was just my life. I was going to have, like, people who were really involved in my life and a family that cared about me like other people have. But I will never have that, like, maternal, paternal, familiar vibe. It's never happening. It's gone. I'm no longer a baby. I will never have that. And that is, I'm not okay. I should stop recording. No, it's fine. I'm going to continue. Would my life make a good play? It would make a good Lifetime movie. Should people be persecuted for crimes that weren't considered crimes at the time? Probably not, because of the way the law works, and it's not fair. If you didn't know, you didn't know. Although if you murdered somebody, it's a bit hard. I think you should try to make amends, or else, like, we're just losing humanity. And why? Or we need to at least label people as reptiles. If they are not going to be humans, I want the admittance of that you are an amphibian person. And that's fine, but admit who you are. Admit that you don't have humanity like normal humans, that you zip on your human skin, and you're reptile and cold, and you don't give a fuck. Just, okay, be honest. because I just know I'm not going to fuck with you, right? I do give a fuck. There's no point. I don't think we can work together. I was like, I can maybe teach you, and I don't think I want to learn to be cold. I don't think I can do it. I'm not interested. I'm not saying that humanity is the best way, but it is the only way I know how, and I'm going to stick to it. So I just want the lizard people to come forward and announce that they are present. I'm not even high, you guys. I'm just like, this is me being myself, just so you know. That was absolutely something that just came out of my mouth. I will perhaps never be a celebrity because of this. Although, to be fair, Joaquin Phoenix made a speech about cow's mother's milk at the Oscars, and that was iconic. So, but that's like also a little political, and a lot of people feel the same way. I don't know if people feel the same way about the reptile people announcing their stuff. And I don't want to be like racist against reptile people. I feel like that could get borderline, but I just want the admittance of their existence, because that's fine. I just want to know that you don't have any humanity. Like, just say it, And I feel like it's different than skin color, because this is about like, are you going to stab me and feel nothing? I just want to know. I just want to know that about you, because I will adjust my life accordingly to how you respond to that question. Would I fight for my country? Do I feel a sense of loyalty to my nation? Nope. No, just kidding. I think to some degree, I did consider joining the National Guard, but I'm not very strong, and I can't see very well, and yeah. I think if the people that I love in this country needed protecting and they needed someone to fight, I would learn how to fight. I really don't want to live in a zombie apocalypse, though. So that stuff scares me. I think I could protect against like somebody trying to kill. I don't think I could kill another person. I want to make that very clear. I don't think I could ever do it. It would have to be an absolute accident of the way they fell. But I think I would like to learn how to be strong enough to disarm people if they messed with somebody that I loved, or something that I was protecting, or somebody who was like helpless. Like I have a hero's complex. Do I believe in gender equality in every aspect? Equality is such an interesting thing, because what is equal for you is not necessarily equal for me, and it is regardless of gender, race, anything, because we're all different people and we all need different things for each other. So I personally, I believe like a woman has the right to choose. And I do say, though, that like, I wish that there were more men who were like, yeah, I want to pay for this woman's dinner. I want to pay for this woman because it makes her feel good. I wish people were fine that like money is a love language. Doing nice things for women or anybody on the gender spectrum, like, it's a love language, and just like, it's just nice. I also think like it's harder because it's like, well, there's not a pressure for men to wear makeup and have all of these different kinds of clothes, and and we make less, and then men make more and they have less to spend on, so it's like, so that money is supposed to go to us technically. So I do believe that like a woman and a man should be considered for the same job as long as they can do it, and we should have more jobs that like take in account for women's like cycles and motherhood and, like women's bodies and being comfortable as a woman. So we have a long way to go. I don't think I believe in gender equality in every way. That's very true. I believe in it in a way that would make, I think, the majority of people happy. Like, I don't think we should have laws dictating how people should treat people, but I guess we need to, because some people treat people so poorly, unfortunately. But I wish that we could just all, no matter what, always strive to treat people with respect and try to amend that respect if someone feels that they're disrespected. Do I have a moral... it's plural, it's not singular. Do we have a moral obligation to care for others? To what extent? Absolutely, I think to the fullest extent. We are on life and we have made it this far in human society because we've cared for others. A functioning family does so much for y'all, you don't even know. You don't even know. When you've had a dysfunctioning family and all the things you miss out on, it is brutal and hard and a really cold world. So I believe that, I mean, at the basic extent, like families caring for each other, that's like top priority, but caring about our community, caring about your friends, caring about your neighbors, caring about the animals in this world, caring about your politicians, caring about your movie stars, caring about, the people, your coworkers, the people you employ, like all of that. It so matters because that's like what we're here on earth is connection. Like, have you ever like connected with a human being? You know what I mean? Like that stuff, they don't make that stuff. You can only find it there. Like the sense of purpose my heart feels when I am collaborating in a group is just like, it's chef's kiss, right? There's nothing. That's why I want reptile people to announce themselves. I want to know because I feel so much this way that is just like the purpose of life, to help everyone. Because if you made it just by yourself, how lonely is that going to be? But you've made it with a group of people you think are awesome. That's so cool. And even if you help somebody you didn't think was awesome and then you learn to find the awesome or like at least appreciate them sometimes, that's like so much better than not appreciating them at all. So yes, we absolutely have a moral obligation to care for others. We also have like a societal, and it's to the fullest extent that we can. Do I crave approval and or praise? Yes, every day of my life. Is there comedy in all tragedy and tragedy in all comedy? I don't think so. I do think that there are tragic moments that can be funny and comedy that can be tragic, but it's not be all end all. There are some things like there are very few times I can see rape being funny, the act of itself. I can see handling a rape situation in a funny or humorous way, but I don't see the act of that. I also don't necessarily see murdering necessarily being fun, right? Like the killing of a life, but the way that it is done, right? There, comedy is so, take a class. I can teach you, but a little bit what I know, but I'm by no means an expert. So, but I don't think it's all. Definitely sometimes. Am I ever going to be satisfied? Yes, I think so. I think to some degree I am satisfied, and then I look around me and I'm like, oh, but to survive in this capitalist society, I have to get to a different place that I don't think exists also, where there's just endless money without work. It's like, no, actually it does take at least some work, just like working smarter rather than harder or necessary, or trying to force things to work when they don't, that's just silly. So I think I will be satisfied someday if I can just get it all done and I'm putting in the work, bit by bit. When I am sad, do I listen to music that conveys my emotions or music that makes me happy? I think I like to listen to music that conveys my emotion because I think it's definitely when I'm sad better to just like get it out and just get it out of my body, feel it, and move on. Woo, this video is long, so I'm going to end it. Thank you guys so much for watching. How would you respond to these questions? What do you think? Let me know and make sure that you subscribe and follow me on social media. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day and that you learn new things about yourself and that you like this video. Bye.